So yesterday, Battlefield 2042's player count dipped below 1,000. Now, albeit this was at an early hour of the morning and also only on Steam, so it's not indicative of the entirety of the player base. But man, I can't say I'm surprised. They've literally had so many failed launches that they finally broke the player base. They've been releasing minimum viable products for years at full price with the promise of it improving over time, and now people have had enough, clearly, because there's nobody playing the game. Their past 3 titles, if we don't include Hardline here because that's kind of the black sheep. So Battlefield 4, as of right now, has 1,844 concurrent players on Steam. And granted, this game wasn't available on Steam for the longest time. For Battlefield 1, it has 2,188 players with a 24-hour peak of 7,350, and Battlefield 5 currently has 4,227 players, concurrent players right now, and a 24-hour peak of 18,852. And I'm going to be honest here, Battlefield 5, not that great of a game in my opinion. It also missed the mark quite heavily, and even that game has more active players than Battlefield 2042. And by looking at the Steam charts for Battlefield 2042, the peaks and the dips are getting lower and lower as time progresses. So every day they're losing a little bit of the highest amount of players they get, and the lows are getting lower. One of the huge problems here is for years they've gotten the players, their customers, used to getting new content on a pretty frequent basis. So back in the day, they released a game and they eventually realized, okay, instead of releasing another game, we could just release some DLC for this one and keep this one alive for longer, which more than likely costs less in the long run for the company. But back then, you obviously paid for the DLC when it came out. And then fast forward a couple of years, they implement a premium pass for video games, like industry-wide, which allows you to pay for content that has yet to be released. So they're taking your money now for content that is coming in the future. Then fast forward a little bit more, and you've got the players hooked on this need for constant updates and new content to keep the game relevant. You've gotten the player base hooked on new content, and now you're doing live service games, and arguably DICE cannot do a live service game because there is no service. It's been 6 months, and they're still working on fixing the initial content that was released in a really, really bad state. There's no quality at the base of Battlefield 2042. The maps are stale. There's very few weapons released. They literally released a product that was as bare bones as they could get for full price with a promise of future content to come. And now we're almost 6 months into the launch of the game and there's nothing. We're still having bugs that have been there for 6 months that should have been fixed within the first couple of months. And it's not only DICE doing this in EA. A lot of AAA game developers release products that are unfinished with the live service model that allows them some leeway in terms of, oh, well, it's a live service game, it'll be better down the road. No, it should be better on release. You guys should do better. You're multi-billion-dollar companies, and you treat your customers and your products like literal garbage. And now you're finally starting to reap what you sow. You released garbage, you are getting garbage results. Indie games are getting more concurrent players on average than Battlefield 2042, a game that had the highest view count of any game trailer for 2021. So if that doesn't show you how piss poor this game ended up being and is right now, I don't know what does. And the problem with this game is I can already see the higher ups over at DICE being like, well, there's no point in releasing content for this game. Nobody's playing it, which is, by the way, your own fault that nobody's playing your game because it's literally bottom of the barrel first-person shooter experience. But if they don't release any content for the game and just cut the support, good luck selling your next live service game. I can promise you, you probably won't want to see the sales number for that. And if they do keep releasing content that is just costing them money for possibly getting some of the players back, but I think they should bite the proverbial bullet and release the content you initially had planned for Battlefield 2042, regardless of the player count. You guys put yourself in this hole. You guys need to get yourself out of it, regardless of how many players you still have playing the game. Even if there's fucking only bots playing the game, you should still put in the effort to fix the game and bring it up to a playable standard, because that's what people paid for. Or, on the flip side, if you do decide to cut the content for the game and not release any of the seasons, number one, you're probably going to be in legal trouble because you did sell year one passes for Gold and Ultimate Edition owners. And two, you should offer refunds to everybody who got scammed out of their money by purchasing Battlefield 2042. There's no way around it. Either way, you're going to lose money by your own fault because you're releasing garbage products to people for full price. I launched the game yesterday, played a couple of rounds, and number one, like, it's so blatantly apparent how unfinished and unpolished this game is. I've been playing other first-person shooters, and just the mouse input in Battlefield 2042 is so gross. How can you release a first-person shooter with mouse and controller input that doesn't work properly? It is beyond me. And if people have the argument that, well, Steam player count is indicative of the entirety of the player base, it literally takes like 10 minutes to find a full match. You get loaded into rounds with more than half bots. Like half the players that are supposed to be in the match are bots. That's how bad it is right now. Even when you're playing at peak hours, which generally speaking are in the evening when people get home, they play video games, you have a hard time finding a match full of actual live players. That's how bad it is. But yeah, EA and DICE are finally starting, and not only EA and DICE, a lot of AAA game developers are finally starting to feel the burn of releasing garbage products that are not finished for full price to customers. People are leaving, people are getting refunds, and people are not buying your future products, no matter how good they are. You've burned too many bridges at this point. But anyways, this video was just supposed to be talking about how low the player count is right now on Steam for Battlefield 2042, but it's gone on quite enough. But yeah, let me know. Have you been playing Battlefield 2042 as of late? Are you waiting for more updates? Are you waiting for more content? Yeah. Anyways, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.